Hello, Algebra Scholars. This is section 4.4, Multiplication of Polynomials. Once again, before we dive in, perhaps just a quick reminder on how to multiply variables together. Remember, when you are multiplying variables, for example, x to the 7th times x to the 5th, let's remember the rule that says keep the base and add the exponents. So this is tricky. We're talking about a section on multiplication, but remember, when you're multiplying variables, the rules are different. So we keep the base and we add the exponents. So this is x to the 12th. We're going to use that rule a ton in this section. All right, the first thing we should talk about is monomial. Is a monomial times another monomial. For example, 5x squared times 11x cubed. To do a problem like this, you multiply the coefficients. So for example, 5 times 11 is 55. And then you multiply the variables using the rule we just talked about. X squared times x to the 3rd. The rule is keep the base and add the exponents. So that is 55x to the 5th. Let's squeak in another quick example over here. Negative 2x to the 7th times 8x to the 3rd. So we first multiply the coefficients. That gives us negative 16. And then we multiply the variables using our rule up here for multiplying variables together of keeping the base and adding the exponents. So that's a monomial times a monomial. Let's flip the page and go to a monomial times any polynomial. So for example, 3x squared can be our monomial, and let's make our polynomial a trinomial of 2x to the 3rd minus 7x plus 9. Here what we're going to do is we're going to distribute, just like we would do in any other multiplication problem. The 3x squared needs to get multiplied by all three of these terms. So really what we're doing is monomial times monomial 3 times. We're going to multiply these monomials, then we're going to multiply these monomials, and then finally these. So if we were to write it all out, which we won't do every time, but maybe we'll do here the first time, we're going to multiply 3x squared times 2x cubed. Then we're going to multiply 3x squared times negative 7x. And then we're going to multiply 3x squared times 9. Now, by all means, if it helps you to write that out, you should. And now it's just monomial times monomial 3 different times. And we end up with 6x to the 5th, whoops, no plus sign there, minus 21x to the 3rd, and then plus 27x squared. And let's try one more here on the same page. Let's do negative 2x to the 5th times 4x to the 5th minus 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. That's a 2 right there. And I won't write out the intermediate step. I will just do the 1, 2, 3, 4 multiplications. Say it along with me if you know what you're doing as I do it. Negative 8x to the 10th. Be careful with the sign here. Negative times a negative is a positive. 6x to the, that's right, 7th, minus 4x to the 6th, because this is to the first. Let's remember that. And then be careful with signs once again, plus 2x to the fifth. So we've done monomial times monomial on the last page, and on this page we did monomial times polynomial. And now we have one last concept to deal with, and that is polynomial times another polynomial. So here's a special case. 3x plus 1 times 2x squared plus 3. This is a special case. It's a binomial times another binomial, and we develop a technique that we call FOIL. First, outer, inner, last. And we use it any time we multiply two binomials together. So first means we multiply the first term of the first binomial by the first term of the second binomial. So 3x squared times 3x times 2x squared is 6x to the third. That's first. And then we move to outer. We take the terms that are the farthest to the outside. So the outer term here is 3x, and the outer term here is 3. They're the terms the farthest left and farthest right. We multiply those together, and we get 9x. Let's see if I can erase here. We then multiply the inner terms together, the terms that are closest to the middle. In this case, 1 and 2x squared, and we get 2x squared when we do that. I'll erase my circles once more. And then finally, last means we multiply the last term of the first binomial by the last term of the second binomial, and 1 times 3 is 3. We then check for like terms. Check for like terms. There are none here, but we'll go ahead and write our answer in descending order. 6x to the third plus 2x squared plus 9x plus 3. We'll do one more, binomial times binomial, where we use FOIL. 2x minus 6 times 3x plus 4. Okay, first times first is here. That gives us 6x squared, remember. This is to the first, this is to the first. And outer times outer looks like this. So that gives us 2x times 4, which is 8x. Inner times inner is right here. Negative 6 times 3x is negative 18x. And then last times last is here. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. Let's check for like terms, and we see some this time. 6x squared, and then plus 8 minus 18 is negative 10, and then minus 24. And then the last thing we're doing, it's still polynomial times polynomial, but it's no longer the special case. Let's do a binomial times a trinomial. So it doesn't matter that it's a binomial and a trinomial. This is true for any polynomial times a polynomial. Basically, what you have to do is you need to multiply every term of the first polynomial by every term of the second polynomial. We don't have a special acronym like FOIL like we do for this problem, so you have to keep track of your work. You have to be systematic about it. So usually what you do is you pick one of the terms in one of the polynomials. I'll pick 2x, and then I'm going to multiply it by all three of these other terms. Whoop, go back. I'm going to multiply it by all three of those other terms. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other term of the first polynomial. Multiply it by all these. So I'm going to do a total of 6 multiplications. So 2x times 3x squared is 6x cubed. 2x times 5x is plus 10x squared. Be careful with exponents. 2x times negative 2 is negative 4x. Now, I'm going to multiply the second term, which is 1, by all three of these terms. 1 times 3x squared is 3x squared. 1 times 5x is 5x. And 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Let's look for like terms now. There are no other cubes, so we leave 6x cubed alone. We have some x squareds here. 10x squared plus 3x squared is 13x squared. We've got some x's. Negative 4x plus 5x is plus 1x. And then we just have negative 2 sitting all by itself. And that's how you multiply any polynomial by another polynomial. We won't do this last problem out, but I'll just write it out for you. For example, 3x to the fourth minus 2x to the third plus 2, 5x cubed plus 2x squared minus 1. So just to think about this quickly, this first term would get multiplied by all three of those terms. The next term would then get multiplied by all three of those terms. And then the third term you would multiply by all three terms in the second polynomial. So you would have a total of 9 multiplications in a problem like that. We won't do it all out. But the bigger the polynomials get, the more multiplications you have to do, and the more combining of like terms you would do at the end. Good luck.